Good morning from Las Vegas. Welcome to WagerTalk Today. Teddy covers Lawrence Presman with our daily WagerTalk segment. Lawrence, I'm opening for you. What's going on, buddy? Is your mic and camera working? Because you're talking in my ear.
Hello?
No, Lawrence is gone. Let's talk about what we have going on today's show. Bryan Leonard is going to join us. He's going to talk the LA Dodgers and the Pittsburgh Pirates, the Cincinnati Reds, and the Colorado Rockies. Bryan, of course, the $2 Tuesday handicapper at WagerTalk.com. He's been outstanding in MLB once again this season. We're going to break down a couple games. You can get his single best bet, his first 5% release of the entire MLB season today for just $2 over at WagerTalk.com. After Bryan leaves us, we'll talk with Marco D'Angelo. He's going to talk also Dodgers and Pirates, but he's got a different bet than Bryan. We're going to take two different angles for this one, as well as the Royals and the Guardians. And, of course, Arthur DiCesare is going to join us to close out the show. He's going to give us all the info from the other side of the betting counter. Of course, Art, risk management supervisor over the Westgate Superbook here in Las Vegas. So when we have him on Tuesdays and Fridays, we love to pick his brain about what's going on the other side of the counter. We'll do that today as well. Of course, we've got another MLB betting scandal to talk about. I'll break that down and what bettors learned, and I, too, have an MLB opinion for Big Game Breakdown. We're going to talk Angels and Padres. So that's the show. Let's get into it. Bryan Leonard, how are you doing today on this Tuesday morning?
Nothing like introducing me.
Well.
Hey, Bri. Every day I go through this, I'm like, hey, Teddy, how are you? What's going on? Bam! Straight to Bryan. Okay, so my
Lawrence,
mic wasn't working.
I wasn't sure that your microphone or camera was working. That's why I didn't go to you. Bryan, how are you this morning?
It's working just fine now. I'm back.
Great,
I'm ready to go.
Go.
I'll sit back and listen. You know, I hear we're going to talk Dodgers. Teddy's Big Game Breakdown. I got a prop bet. You got a bet. Marco's got a bet. Welcome to the LA Dodgers show. Bri, let's start right there. Who's going to win?
Yeah, it's an important game because you've got two of the most impressive pitchers going in Major League Baseball this year. And I've got no problem laying the chalk here with the Dodgers against the Pittsburgh starter that's showing some weaknesses as of late. Jared Jones throws his four-seamer 48% of the time. And while he's been very successful in that regard earlier in the season, that's not the case lately. His fastball run value is in the 40th percentile, which is less than mid-range in Major League Baseball, because in order to go longer in games, he's not throwing the ball nearly as hard. If you take a look at what he was throwing earlier this season, he was throwing at peak value. And a lot of these guys have gotten injured so far this year. They throw at peak value. So they're trying to get some of these pitchers to throw a little bit slower and being able to pitch longer in the games. And that's what's going on with Jones. But his fastball velocity is definitely taking it back, and he's starting to get hit a little bit now. In his last 3 games, he has allowed 11 earned runs. And if you take a look at his previous 9 starts, he only allowed 14 in that regard. So he's trying to pitch longer for the Pirates and stay in the game a little bit longer. He doesn't walk a lot of batters. He did a little bit have some control problems in the minors, but that hasn't been the case in Major League Baseball. He's done a very good job. But I've watched pretty much every start he's had so far this year, and it's clear he's not as dominant as he was before. I'm not worried about it from an injury standpoint, but taking off that extra 2 or 3 miles an hour on your fastball definitely makes him more hittable. On the other side, you got Tyler Glasnow, who could be the best pitcher in Major League Baseball. He's done nothing wrong all season long, and he's been pitching not only great, he's pitching deep in games. I like this Dodgers offense better than this Pittsburgh offense, although the back end, the back 3 for the Dodgers, 7, 8, and 9, have not performed all season long. Their top of the order is so much better than Pittsburgh's. Pittsburgh's offense is something. They got a lot of good young players, but I don't think they hit very well. I like the Dodgers here. I'm not normally a guy who's going to lay this type of number, but to me, with the pitching matchup, I think we're getting some value here on the LA Dodgers.
We've seen over money come in for this one, Bryan, and that one kind of surprised me a little bit. Obviously, with Glasnow on the one side and Jones, you talked about some of the concerns you have about Jones for today's game. Are you surprised by the over money in this one? Because that was one that I really wasn't expecting.
Yeah, not really, because if anybody's watched him pitch as of late, his numbers have not been as good. As I mentioned, I'm not worried about it from an injury standpoint, but we always take a look at what a pitcher has done all season long, and it was clear that Jones was pitching above his abilities. A lot of these young guys will come in their first few starts and just try to throw it as hard as they can, and they want to show the best they can because you don't know when the next time you'll be playing in the majors. And he looked so good doing it. He did it in the spring training. He looked so good doing it that he got himself a spot. And now that he's secured that spot, he's able to bring it back a little bit. And he knows himself that if he does have some bad starts, he's not going anywhere. Pittsburgh's got a lot of good young talent on the pitching mound, but he's a guy that's going to be in the rotation the rest of the year unless he hits that pitching number of the Pirates will be out of the playoffs. And they're going to try to rest him later on. And that's something you've got to look out for a lot of these young pitchers.
Bryan Leonard joining us, everyone. Teddy, Justin P. thinks that there's a whole lot of Slack drama going on between the hosts after that delicious opening.
Yes, there was.
Yeah. So, I'll read the Slack. Teddy, good to see you again, Lawrence. Sorry about that. I should have thrown to you. Lawrence, no problem, Teddy. Lots of love, Teddy. Psyched for the show. Lawrence, me too. Let's get on with it. What's up with Brian's hair? Teddy's like, I don't know.
None of this actually happened, Brian. There were a lot more F-bombs.
There's a lot of stories coming out of that guy's mouth, and I don't believe half of them.
Cincinnati at Colorado, Brian. You like the over in this game. Let's get into it.
Yeah, I think it's more of a contrarian play here as you take a look at the Reds and the Rockies. When you take a look at WRC plus, league average is 100, and neither one of them have done well offensively. The Reds ranked 27th, and the Rockies 29th. And we're getting a total of 10.5 here, and that's pretty low for a game in Colorado. Ty Block's going for Colorado. He has a career 5.10 ERA, 1.46 WHIP. In over 483 major league innings, he only has 274 strikeouts. You don't see much of that anymore, and that's especially bad when you're pitching in Colorado, where any fly ball, any line drive can go out of this place based on, obviously, the elevation. You need to have strikeouts to have success in Colorado, and I don't think he's going to get it. He's only in the second percentile this season in strikeout percentage. So there's going to be a lot of balls in play in Colorado in this game, and balls in play mean runs. Similarly, Frankie Montas hasn't reached a strikeout per inning since 2022. He has 33 strikeouts in 47 innings this year. He is coming back off an injury. So as the season goes on, I would expect those numbers to go up. But as of yet, he hasn't showed his former self in that regard. And he's got a 4.60 ERA, 1.40 WHIP. And he's been hit hard his last 4 games, allowing 14 earned runs in those 4 starts. The outfield here is very large and a great place for hitters. The best way to get the opposition out, as I mentioned, is by 3 strikes. And neither one of these guys strike anybody out, which means lots of balls in play, which means singles that turn into doubles, doubles turn into triples, and a lot more scoring that we normally get. 10.5. That's a low total here. I like the over.
When we look at these two lineups right now, I mean, the Reds had a 13-run outburst last night, but that was the first time in 9 games they'd scored more than 5 runs. The Rockies have 4 runs their last 3 games. Not like they're tearing the cover off the baseball right now. And Colorado's offense in particular has been hit or miss at Coors all year. We expect them to put up runs in bunches, and it's happened on occasion, but it hasn't happened with any consistency. Do we worry that these two lineups aren't necessarily capable of pounding out 11, 12, 13 runs or more in this one?
I'm not quite as worried. I know that I saw an article today that talked about the earned runs that the opposition gets off of Colorado pitchers this year is 4.9, and that's a little bit lower, maybe half a run lower than it was last year. But if you take a look at all of hitting this year, it's down a little bit. A lot of people think it's the ball. It's down about a half a run or so. They change the ball all the time. But these are two teams that know how to hit in this environment. Cincinnati is the best home run field in Major League Baseball. Colorado, the best batting average field in Major League Baseball. Both these teams are used to playing in those kind of circumstances. I think they'll have success here. You mentioned Cincinnati yesterday, scoring 13. This is a team in Cincinnati has been very inconsistent all season long. A lot of injuries on this team. Starting to get a few guys back, and I think the future is bright for them. But, you look at their best hitter right now, and he's in a major slump. But if you swing the bat as hard as he does, you get a hold of some of these in Colorado. You got a lot of extra base hits for De La Cruz and some of the others on this Reds team. And I like the over. As I said, 10.5 is pretty cheap.
Brian, before we let you go, let's talk a little bit of hockey. The Stanley Cup Finals starts, I think, on Saturday night. Huge layoff between games. Edmonton is plus 110, Florida minus 130. I like Edmonton, and so does Carm. We both discussed it yesterday. And I understand Florida is a veteran team. They've been here before. They were here last year. But I look at this matchup and I feel like Florida hasn't seen the type of speed that is going to come at Edmonton, at them. And I feel like Edmonton just played Florida in the last round and was able to handle the Florida team. I mean, I know that they were disguised as the Dallas Stars, but they're the same team, same style, same depth. The way they clog the center ice, keep everybody to the outside. They were not able to stop Edmonton or score. I don't understand why Edmonton is a dog here.
Yeah, I made it 50-50 either way. So whoever the dog was the team that I was going to favor here. And not only Dallas plays the same type of game as Florida, well, Vegas plays the same type of game as Florida, and they've had a lot of key matchups with Edmonton playing, for the last few years. So they are used to playing this type of hockey. Florida, I've been very impressed by Florida, the way they played last year, the way they played this year. They're an excellent team. They're a physical team. That is the advantage Florida has in this game, is I believe they're much more physical than Edmonton is, which means they're going to be hitting, going to be really taking it to the Stars for this Edmonton team. This is the chance. I'd love to see McDavid have a terrific series here. We've been waiting for this. It's sort of like the situation with the Angels and in their star player that's never getting to the deep in the playoffs. So that's something we're looking for here. But I agree. I think Edmonton's the team to beat here. It's at this price range. But overall, nothing would surprise me with this one. But I think it's going to be a really good matchup. But because of the teams they played and they know very well, I think Edmonton's got a slight edge here. And you're getting them at plus money.
Brian, Fortnort writes, I have a different take. The East was producing the better teams at the higher level. The argument Prez makes that Dallas is the same as Florida is compelling, but I think there is a class difference. I'm not buying that, Fort. I think the three best teams in hockey are in the West. And for sure, I would say the four best teams. I think you can throw Vegas in there. I think Dallas, Colorado, and Edmonton are better than every single team in the East. So I do believe the East has more better teams. But from a top-heavy perspective, I think the West has the three or four best teams in hockey, Bri.
I think they were pretty even. Carolina was a hell of a team. The Rangers, a hell of a team. Boston's down a little bit this year. I think it's pretty even. At one point of the season, you could say the East was better. At another point, you could say the West was better. But when you take a look at everything overall, it's pretty even, which is showing you why the best team in the East plays the best team in the West, and it's near a pick 'em. So I think the line's very close to being exactly correct. But I would play Edmonton at plus 110 if I had to play the series.
What do you want to promote, my friend?
Well, it's $2 Tuesday. And I haven't been here with a $2 Tuesday bet in probably 6 months or so. And we've had success in the past in these. So we've got a baseball play going today. Love this play. Everything has worked out exactly the way I wanted it to be. The line is where I expected it to be. So we're getting a little bit of an advantage there. And it hasn't been hit by the wise guys, like a lot of the games I've given out on these shows over the years that have taken a big move. So you're getting the same line on this game you could have gotten yesterday when I gave it out last night. And that's a rarity. So I really like it even more now that nobody smart is going against me in this one. So yeah, I love this 5% play. It's our first 5% play in Major League Baseball this year, and we've been number
Wow.
3 in Major League Baseball profit the last month. And love this play. It's only $2. Go out and grab it.
Well said, Bri. Guys, if you've never purchased from WagerTalk, take a second out of your day, grab that $2 play. And also, if you like what you're hearing on the show, please hit the like button. We're at 158,000 subscribers. I'd like to get to 160 soon. So if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to our channel. So, Teddy, let's do this live on air, bro. You called me up yesterday. You're like, Prez, let's put the What Did Bettors Learn segment on the back burner until football season starts. I'm totally for that. We just need a new idea. So I'm appealing to all our great listeners, Fort, Andrew, Raven, Eric D, constantly typing, Titans, Key to Vegas, some Dan Alexander, Schmo, the Lord. If you guys have ideas of what you would like to see on the show, let us know. We're going to put the What Did Bettors Learn segment on the back burner for now, but we are asking for ideas. Do you have any off the top of your head, Theodore?
Of course, betting strategies. We did it last summer. We do it just about every summer, but for some reason this summer we haven't started to do it just yet. So a betting strategy segment on a daily basis makes a ton of sense for this better. All we need are questions. So if you guys have questions you want us to answer for the BS with Teddy and the Prez, just leave them in the comments after we get posted to YouTube later in the day.
Yeah, guys who are starting with me, Broward County, by the way, thanks for joining us, Broward. Prez didn't understand why the Rangers were dogs either. Waj, our favorite guy. Prez really liked the Rangers. They're, as in like, now he likes the Oilers. He was wrong about the Rangers, so he's going to be wrong about the Oilers. So for the record, guys, I never released the Rangers to my clients, and I'm not releasing the Oilers to my clients. I think the Oilers are the right bet, but I'm not betting any of it. So if you guys are going to hold me accountable for what I think on these shows, as opposed to what I actually release to my clients, we're not going to be able to talk. These are the picks we think have great value, but not the picks that we think have value enough to bet. Theodore, you look like you want to chat.
We welcome all comments from our audience. We thank you for all the comments that you're making. It's fine to disagree with Prez. It's fine to disagree with me. For some reason, Lawrence has thin skin today and can't handle a little criticism.
No, I love that these guys are disagreeing. And that is the opposite of thin skin, bro. I've also put on some weight, Teddy. I got a little bit of a gut going, man. I can't stop eating junk food late at night. Do you think it's the edibles? Marco D'Angelo joining us, everyone. How are you, Marco?
So we're not going to talk about the betting scandal and the What Bettors Learn that I prepared for today.
I thought we weren't doing a What Did Bettors Learn. Okay.
If you look in the notes that we put in Slack, that I put in Slack yesterday, you know very well because you didn't call me to discuss a new segment and because there was a big betting story today. Look, it's hard to learn something new every day.
We're the best
in sports.
We rock.
At least one of us does. Let's talk about a guy you never heard of until yesterday, and you might not hear him again. Well, you'll hear him now because he's always going to be talked about in the same breath as Pete Rose. That, of course, Tucupita Marcano, the San Diego Padres infielder, who has been banned from baseball for life after he was wagered. Information came out that he was wagering on games involving the Pirates when he was with the Pirates last season. The specifics of the allegations, quote, between October 16th, 2022 and from July 12th, 2023 through November 2023, Marcano placed 387 baseball bets, including 231 MLB-related bets, among other bets on international baseball games. And he did all this legally through illegal sports books. His bets were generally parlays, which would sometimes include multiple MLB-related legs, and they would sometimes include MLB-related legs and non-MLB legs. In total, he bet more than $150,000 on baseball. 87,000 of that spent on MLB bets. And did he do well? Well, let's put it this way. He won 4.3% of his MLB-related bets overall. This is from a guy who's in the clubhouse. So he's winning 4% of his bets. And, of course, he's making parlays. You don't have to win a lot of parlays. Nonetheless, it does not appear as if he was a winning bettor necessarily when you're winning 4 point. And, again, there was 231 MLB-related bets. And, again, he won 4.3% of those. This reminds me a lot of the Jonte Porter scenario for the Toronto Raptors. We have a fringe player, not a multimillionaire, a guy who's just come into the league and is kind of trying to hang on and may or may not know how well the rules are being enforced. Obviously, when you see a penalty like this from MLB and the speed in which they've done it, the leagues are sending a message to their players. Don't do this shit. The fact that this got caught speaks volumes to what's going on in the world of being regulated. Our old buddies, Matt Holt and company, are doing a remarkable job at making sure players aren't getting involved with wagering, even though apparently this guy was involved in the postseason in 22 and then throughout 23. Nonetheless, it's come to light. It's not hidden. This, my friends, is legalized, regulated sports betting working. Lawrence, back to you, my friend.
What is wrong with these people? Oh my! It really is unbelievable how stupid some people are. Well, I mean, maybe it's not unbelievable, but let's have a moment of silence for how stupid people are.
I'm just thinking of you, Lawrence.
Oh, you're thinking of how stupid I am.
Marco D'Angelo, welcome to the show, my friend. How are you today? Marco?
Marco's listening. Keep
in mind. What? We have a show? What? You're kidding. I'm sorry. I was texting. I didn't know we had a show. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. Oh, that's so.
How did you work on that for a while?
That's a Marco comedy bit.
Yeah. Did you work on that last night?
Yeah,
because we are a full transparent site. And guys, that was the original opening to our show today. Our beloved leader was texting like a 14-year-old girl and missed the opening.
No,
who in the hell were you texting?
That's not how it went down at all, Marco. My headphones and mic weren't working. My screen froze, and I didn't hear Dan count me down. But thank you, dude. If you want to take shots at the Prez, go ahead. I have very, very thick skin. I actually would like to be called a douche, as you all know. You've heard me talk about this before. So give it your all, Marco, and then maybe we could get into some actionable info.
Hey, I'm here, sir. What do you want to talk about?
Well, listen, we have to talk about the Dodgers, right? I mean, that seems to be the game of the day here. Bryan Leonard came on. He gave us the LA Dodgers at -180 against Pittsburgh. I think Teddy has the Dodgers run line in his big game breakdown. I got a Dodgers prop bet later on in the show. So where are you going in this important matchup?
Okay. Just the little thing in our producer, Dan, is well aware of it because we go through it every week on Bet On It. There's a thing called timestamps of when things are put in to Slack. And I put my Dodgers play in last night before all of you guys. So no problem with that. Learn to tell time, Prez, and look at timestamps. But I am going with a different wager. Mine is a first 5-inning wager here in the Pittsburgh game. And as Brian said, one of the best pitchers in baseball is Tyler Glasnow. And this is a spot where I'm going first 5 because we are going pitcher versus pitcher. We are taking out the bullpen out of the equation. And if you look at what Glasnow has done, I mean, in his 5 road starts this season, he's got an ERA of 1.69. He's got an insane whip of 0.0. 5.71. The Dodgers have gone 4-1 in those 5 starts. He's made 12 starts overall. He's allowed 3 runs or less in 10 of those 12 starts, and 5 of those 10 have been 0 or 1 run. This is also going to be the first time he's facing Pittsburgh. You know, I love the first time a pitcher faces a team, he always has the advantage over them. But there's a little extra wrinkle to this one. This will be the first time he faces them, but it's also the first time he's facing them since they traded him in what will go down as the worst trade in the history of Pittsburgh Pirate baseball. They traded Tyler Glasnow and Austin Meadows to Tampa Bay several years back for Chris Archer. Yeah, that was a horrible trade. So he's going to be pumped up coming back to Pittsburgh. And I always like to use that angle. I call it bite the hand that fed you. When you face the team that traded you away for the first time, you're usually, mad and have something to prove. But in reality, he really should thank the Pittsburgh organization for saving his career by trading him to better organizations. But we're going to take it as a first 5. Brian mentioned that Jared Jones is regressing. And if you look at his last 2 starts, his problem has been the walks. He's had 17 base runners in 10 innings of work the last 2 starts. And that was his only problem down in the minors, and it's resurfacing now. We're going to go Glasnow, lay the half a run. We get this thing down to a minus $1.10 rather than laying a big price. Go starter versus starter. Take the Dodgers first 5.
So are you worried at all about Glasnow's recent form? He had arguably 2 of his 3 worst starts of the season in recent outings against Cincinnati and Arizona. Couldn't make it past the 5th inning in either one. Last time out against the Mets, a season high in walks. Are these concerning signs? And of course, the Dodgers just 1-3 his last 4 trips to the hill. The only win coming in extra innings. So it's not like they've even been winning for their ace of late. Concerning? Non-factor.
Non-factor for me because, as you noticed, I did point out the big disparity on his home and away splits. Both the Arizona and Cincinnati games were at home. Mets was on the road. The 4 walks I don't like, Teddy. Yeah, I'll give you that. But he did have 8 strikeouts, and he went 7 innings and allowed 2 runs. And again, that one was on the road. For whatever reason, he pitches better on the road, and just throwing in that added little motivation of coming back to PNC Park.
There we go. Marco D'Angelo, 1 more play to go. Dirk Diegler says, Prez, how about a shout out? Dirk Diegler! He also wants to know if we know what character that is. What movie is that from? Boogie Nights. Okay, there we go. And then another person, Prez, if you are ready to be humiliated with his heads up betting challenge, where I can only bet parlays, let me know. Yeah, B. Reed, good try, bro. I get it, man. I mean, when you're John Cena like me and you're Iron Mike Sharp like you want to call me out. I love your marketing strategy. Excellent work. Marco, Kansas City at Cleveland. You like Kansas City in the first 5 innings, and I love these first 5 innings bet. It's most of the bets I release to my clients are first 5. Tell us why KC first 5 and why not the whole game.
Well, taking out the bullpens out of the equation in this one, when I feel I've got a major mismatch with the 2 starting pitchers, why involve anybody else? And people ask me about the first 5 inning wagers all the time. And I tell you, a first 5 inning wager versus a full game, I'm basically relying on 2 people, my starting pitcher and the opposing starting pitcher. If I go full game, the way today's baseball is set up, I've got to rely on generally 3 or 4 people to do their job correctly. That's the 7th inning setup guy, the 8th inning guy to get it to the bullpen for the closer, and then the closer. You got 4 other guys, 3 guys that come in after the starting pitcher in most cases. We're going to look at Seth Lugo, and there is not a pitcher, I feel, in the American League pitching better than he is right now. This is a guy that has gone to the mound 12 times this year. He's got an ERA of 1.84 But if you look at his 6 road starts, just like we talked in the previous game, for some reason he pitches even better on the road. His ERA is 0.86 and his whip is 0.81. Now he's going to be facing Cleveland. They're going to send Tristan McKenzie to the mound. And in his last 2 starts, he's allowed 7 runs in 10 innings of work. More alarming is the fact 17 guys reached base in those 10 innings. That's a whip of 1.70. I tell you all the time, if that many people get on base, bad things are going to happen, and that's what's been happening to him. It's also the first time Cleveland will have faced Lugo. I've said it on your show many times. Pitchers have the advantage over the hitters, first time through the league. And Kansas City, a little stat for you. Now, obviously, this is a full game stat, but we're looking at a first 5-inning wager. Cleveland in what I call coin flip game, Kansas City in what I call coin flip games, being where the line is minus 125 to plus 125. Those are supposed to be 50-50 games. They're 23-14 this year in the games that are supposed to be coin flips. So that's impressive as well. Let's take the bullpens out of the equation. Let's go with the pitcher that has been solid all year. Go with Seth Lugo. First 5 innings, and you're getting this one at a decent price because of the full game price. We don't have to lay a half a run. This is just a first 5-inning money line wager. Take the Kansas City Royals tonight.
Yeah, important note, the $2 Tuesday play from Bryan Leonard. I believe that, Marco, you have a play on the game as well. That is now a no play. There's been a pitching change. So unless you have an action wager for that one, which neither handicapper did, there's no action for $2 Tuesday. That's unfortunate. I'm glad we found about it right now before the show is over so we can stop promoting it because there's no action on the play. I want to ask you about the Cleveland Guardians in particular right now because we look at MLB teams off a loss this season. Cleveland ranks, let's see, there's the Phillies, the Orioles, and then the Guardians. They've been, all 3 of those teams, outstanding at bouncing back. The Yankees also in that group. Cleveland lost yesterday. Any concern with the Guardians having played so well off a single defeat?
Oh, they've played so well all year. There's no question about that. And it's ironic that the teams that bounce back the best, you run off, basically the best teams in baseball. And that's, why? Because they don't have losing streaks. But this is a division game. And I like Kansas City. Kansas City, Cleveland was a lot of wise guys plays coming into this year. People thought they were going to be much improved. I don't think anybody thought they were going to be as improved as they were. I do see regression coming from this Cleveland team as we go into the dog days of summer. Kansas City has had streaks as well. Now, recently, they haven't played as well, but they play so well when Lugo's on the mound. This is a guy that is 9-3 in his 12 starts this year, Teddy, and they're a perfect 6-0 on his road start. So I'm going to go with that stat over Cleveland bouncing back today.
Marco D'Angelo. Marco, every time I look at your Twitter, you are rolling. Here we are again, number 2 most profitable handicapper the last 7 days of betting on an 18-7 run. Congratulations, man. This has been going on for over a year for sure, because your NBA last year was sick too. What do you got going with the clients, especially now that your one play has been called a no play?
Yeah, fortunately, we do have an all-access package up today. So that 4% play, I got to go back. And like I said, Teddy announced it during the show. So I got to go back and see if we are going to come back in with that game or not. Look at the adjusted who the pitchers are. But we do have other plays. I do add plays throughout the day to the all-access package. So you can still pick up that package. And like I said, guys, we have been rolling 18-7 with the plays. I'm a low volume capper. Generally, you're going to get 3 plays from me, but we've been grinding them out day after day. And that's how you get to 18-7 over the last 7 days, 21 unit profit.
Beautiful stuff. Congratulations, Marco D'Angelo. Teddy covers. It's time for your big game breakdown. Dodgers?
Big game breakdown time. Let's talk about the Padres and the LA Angels right now. Looking at the WagerTalk live odds screen. Angels, slight favorites. Let's call it minus 110, minus 115 in that range. Total sitting at 8.5. 2-1 last night. Game stayed well under the total. I'm expecting more of the same tonight. And this is not about two aces. You know, you have Patrick Sandoval on the one side, he's been okay. I mean, look, he's pitched well against San Diego. He pitched well last time out. His overall numbers, not great. Adam Mazur coming for San Diego. Again, he's coming up from AAA. Not a guy who has any MLB experience and not a guy who dominated in AAA. So this is not about these two starting pitchers primed to shut everyone down. It's about these two lineups not likely to hit in bunches. Look, we got a lot of guys sitting out in terms of the best hitters for both teams. Luis Arias is set yesterday for San Diego. Don't know he's going to be able to play today. Bogarts is on the IL. Trout's on the IL. Anthony Rendon is on the IL. It's like some of the best bats for both teams. All right. Angels aren't hitting. They scored 1, 3, 4, 0, 1, and 2 their last 6 games. The Padres, 2 runs their last 5 times their last 10. And we talk about Angel Stadium. You look at the broader numbers, say, wow, the stadium plays to the over. It has in recent years. At night, with the early starts, the 6:40, 6:30 starts, it doesn't play the same way. It plays more like Petco. I don't see runs in bunches in this one. I see another pitcher's duel between two teams that are dicey on the offensive end right now. And I'm looking at under 8.5 for the Padres and the Angels. There's your big game breakdown. Back to you, Mr. Prez.
Teddy covers Art DiCesare joining us. We are running late, so let's get straight to his segment. Art, we love having you on. Let's start right off the bat with hockey, and then Teddy will talk NBA. Both you and I like the Rangers. I admit it. I didn't like it enough to bet it, but I like them over Florida. I like Edmonton here. So does Carmine. Brian thinks there's a little bit of value there too. Who do you like in the series, and what type of bets are you getting that we should know about?
100%, Prez. I'm with you. I like the Rangers too, and I just liked it from a value standpoint. Well, I'm just saying last series we said we liked the Rangers. Yeah, I like the Rangers too, and it was just like the Carolina series. We didn't understand the prices, and it was all about the price. Listen, Florida was incredible. If Igor doesn't play in the series, it was a sweep, and every game's 8-0.
Yeah.
As far as the Cup goes, I'm shocked. We opened Florida minus 125. We've bumped up 5 cents to minus 130. I saw some 135s pop yesterday. We stayed pretty firm at minus 130. We really haven't had anyone come in on either side. I've been dead wrong about the Oilers. I didn't think the Oilers would beat Dallas. I think Florida is the better team. I really believe that. I think you're probably getting a nice discount on them. Florida should really probably be 140 in the series. Now, we could get there by Saturday. It's only Tuesday. But I just feel like we know we're going to take some Edmonton money, so we stayed a little bit lower at plus 110. Haven't wanted to bump up to plus 115 yet. But no one's wanted to come in and lay Florida, which scares me, because usually the Sharps, they see a minus 125, minus 130, 135. They're ready to hop in. So I lean Florida in 6, but I could see Edmonton making this run. I think the interesting thing is the Conn Smythe. That is wide open. If Florida wins, you got Barkov at plus 3.25. You got Bobrovsky at 450. You got Kachuk at 5-1. And McDavid at plus 250. It's only happened 5 times, and it's usually a goalie. He could break all sorts of assist records. If they lose in 7, there is a real opportunity for him to maybe win the Conn Smythe on a losing team because it's McDavid. So I think that's an interesting conversation as well.
Where's Zach Hyman's odds?
Hyman is going to be obviously lower down on the board. Hyman is going to be like 50-1.
Yeah, I mean, he's not going to win it because he's Zach Hyman. But I think he's been the most important player on the Edmonton Oilers team this entire playoff run. But I do think that if Florida wins, Bobrovsky will win that award. So I don't see Connor winning it on a losing team. Teddy, let's get to some NBA.
Of course, we've got the NBA Finals starting on Thursday night. Looking at the WagerTalk live odds, you're going to see the Westgate 6.5 to 14.5 for game one for the series. When we look at the Westgate numbers right now, I'm seeing plus 190 for Dallas, minus 220 for the Boston Celtics. What kind of action have you seen for the series? What kind of action have you seen for game one when it comes to the NBA Finals?
Game one, Teddy, we opened 6, we opened 214. So we've seen half a point move on both. Obviously, with Boston sitting now at 6.5, total of 214.5. So it's ticked up to the over and ticked up slightly to Boston. The early money's been Boston. The early series money's been Boston as well. You mentioned we had Boston at minus 220. We opened minus 210 on Boston. And another thing, just like the Conn Smythe, interesting with the NBA Finals, people coming in taking chances with Luka. It's almost like the Patrick Mahomes effect. If you're going to take Mahomes to win, if you think the Chiefs are going to win the Super Bowl, take Mahomes to win the MVP, maybe you get a cheaper number. You get a better number on Luka to win the MVP, plus 200 instead of plus 195. 5-cent difference, but it's still a 5-cent difference. The only difference is obviously you have a Kyrie who has an opportunity to go crazy in a 6 or 7 game series, and obviously has a big game, series experience. But a lot of people have taken that angle as well. And even Tatum laying minus 120, even though you have Jaylen Brown there. Mavericks have been very popular in 7 games. Take the Mavericks in 7. And Boston's been very popular in the sweep and in the 5 games. The shorter series for Boston, obviously the longer series for Dallas.
So when you talk about how the money is flown, you said you opened at 6 and it moved to 6.5. The total from 214 to 2.5. The 214.5. The series price from minus 210 to minus 220. Are those one bet? Excuse me, from a respected bettor, or is that multiple bets moving with the market?
The series is multiple bets from respected bettors. The game in total, Teddy, to be fair, it's been pretty decent two-way, probably 60-40 Boston, but that more was moving with the market. It's not like we hung 6 and then some guy came in and hammered 6 and we said, oh, we got to go to 6.5. Or some guy hammered 214 and now we got to go to 214.5. Because, a total play, even though maybe we would have been a little bit higher on the board, if some really respected guy came in and laid 214, we probably would have instantly went to 215. So kind of just moving with the market, seeing the bets coming in. Series, though, is a number of respected guys coming in, laying the short price. We even think probably the series should be a little bit higher, and it's obviously ticked up. And, of course, now we have till Thursday, so we have a couple days to see if that goes even higher. But we probably think it should be higher. But, sometimes you don't want to be in a position where you're totally out of whack, and you're offering, Dallas at plus 240. I mean, you don't want to be in that regard. And, it's just one of those things. Obviously, we're going to go with the market and kind of see what we're doing because there hasn't been that huge sharp bet that's coming in laid Boston. Just a couple of really respected bettors.
Segment in, segment out. Art DiCesare brings it. We love having him on the show twice a week now, Tuesdays and Fridays. You can follow him on Twitter at ArtDice21. And of course, if you're at the Westgate Superbook, you can always go and say hi to Art behind the counter. Real quick, I want to talk MLB, but before I do that, we talked a little bit of football on Friday. I'm going to keep asking you on football. Has anything happened in the markets? Was there any big bets coming in over the course of the last 4 or 5 days? College, NFL, anything worth talking about? Or are the betting markets in football right now real sleepy?
They're not, Teddy, and I love that you're going to do this, and you should. And listen, there are days I'll probably say nothing happened. But, sitting here on a Tuesday, we took a nice size bet on Lions over 10.5 plus 110 yesterday, and we now moved to Lions 10.5 even money. So a really respected bettor came in who likes to make season win long bets with us in all sports, came in and laid that type of number with Detroit yesterday. Once again, 10.5 over plus 110. We've now moved to even money. So always ask because there's always things that are going to flow in, and I obviously want to let everyone know about them.
Sure. Lions money has shown. Baseball for today. No, I'm not done, Lawrence. We haven't talked baseball. If you would have listened to what I was saying, I said let's talk a little football. before
You
we get
always
to
have to
MLB.
do that.
Now we're on MLB.
You are
Yes,
such a curmudgeon. Oh my God.
I am. And you do the show with
Oh.
me every day. By summertime, Lawrence and I are really sick of each other. Let's talk a little
Oh.
baseball. What do
We
we
need
got
a
going
break.
for today, Art? Anything stand out in terms of who are the pros betting? Who are the Joes betting? Does anything stand out to Arthur DiCesare on the MLB betting board for Tuesday?
Yeah, a couple of sharp things overnight. Rockies, Reds, Rockies at home. Took some Rockies money at plus $1.22. Now I've moved to plus 111, plus 112, so about a 10-cent move. Rockies money showed at home. And then the Guardians at home with McKenzie on the mound. I know Marco talked about Lugo. He's been really good for Kansas City, but the overnight bettors and a sharp better laid minus 111 with the Guardians. We've moved to minus 119. I think eventually we will take a little bit more Royal money back because now you're sitting plus 109. You're starting to, kind of be a little bit above market maybe on the dog. So you'll see some Royal money come back. Hasn't happened yet. And, the play of the day for the public, which is in all the parlays, Yankees coming home after the long West Coast trip where they were incredible. They're going to lay 160, 165, 170 against Minnesota, a team they've owned for decades. Gil's been incredible. He's on the mound. Even as a Yankee fan, and I love the Yankees, I think the play's Minnesota tonight. I think taking a shot with that Minnesota price is the right side, but that's who the public's on today in all the parlays.
There we go. Art DiCesare, brother. Art, what do you got to promote? Let me guess. The Westgate.
As always, fellas, pleasure to be on. I love coming on with you guys. Yeah, of course, guys, the Westgate, come down. Listen, Stanley Cup's going to start. It feels like we're in like this weird holding pattern over the last couple of days because we're waiting for the NBA Finals and the Stanley Cup to, pop off. And they're about to. And obviously, baseball all the time. WNBA, very popular. Even college baseball. Super regionals just basically wrapped up, and now we have the 16. We put up games, we put up series prices, run lines, totals, everything you want for your college baseball. And then obviously, as always, the football. Keep looking out for the college. We're going to get more college out there, games of the years, win totals. And as always, if you ever have any questions when you're there, ask for me, reach out to me on Twitter or X. More than happy to help.
We're done. What a show. Teddy covers. You lectured me a few times on air, 600 times in Slack. I'm glad we're done, bro. And I do need a break from you really, really badly. So with that said, thank you everybody for joining us today. Lots of love. And Theodore, take us home.
Enjoy the games. Best of luck with your bets. Lawrence and I will be back tomorrow with another edition of WagerTalk Today.